Hey guys, know it's been a little while since I posted a video. Kind of been working on organizing the garage and just doing like little projects, doing an oil change on this dirt bike for my little brother. But yeah, while we are waiting for some suspension pieces, I decided that I'm going to get the bay ready for paint just while it's empty. Um, and I've been looking into tucking the body harness, which is a pretty common mod that people do, especially when they're going to do like a tube front or paint the bay. Just really cleans it up. So I'm going to get started on that today. Is relocating the body harness and fuse box under the dash. Step one is going to be pulling the dash. Um, Now I have removed this dash before, just to do some other services, but it really helps to get it out of the way first. That'll allow you to have a little more headspace when you're down here disconnecting plugs, disconnecting from the steering column, and then obviously like wrapping it up, zip tying it up. Just helps to get it out of the way before you start doing any sort of wiring work. Um, Usually, step one is removing this radio bezel and then the center console. Um, all that's holding this in is my seat, basically. So that's pretty easy, and I already went ahead and removed that bezel. Should just pop off. And then I like to start over here. There's two screws holding the hood latch release, and then I only have two bolts that hold this lower kick panel down. So we're going to remove that. Remove the steering column plastic, and then we're going to remove the glove box just to start. Alright, so we got the kick panel out from over there. We actually had one more screw down on the right side that I forgot to mention. Now onto the glove box. We got two bolts up here, and then we've got, you can see one down there. I'm actually missing that bolt, just Nissan things. Then we're going to go ahead and you just got to squeeze the sides of this together, and then the glove box should come right out. Correction on that. Once you loosen those 4 bolts, then it actually just drops out as a whole unit. You don't even need to squeeze the sides in. Now that you've got the glove box, radio bezel, center console, kick panel out of the way, you're going to go ahead and remove the steering column clamshell. That is 2 bolts in the back, 2 bolts in the front, and one right here. It's actually screws, sorry about that. And then there's like this little bezel that just pops off of the ignition. There you go. Alright, and once you've removed these 2 screws, that should just be sitting here freely. These plugs you can actually pop out from the back, and it's a lot easier to access the plugs that way, so you don't have to lay down. Not too much of a hassle, but in order to actually get this piece out, there's 2 bolts here on the steering shaft that hold it up underneath the dash. You're going to have to remove those so you can get the wheel low enough to actually pull this guy out. Alright, now that your steering column is nice and floppy, go ahead and pull this guy out. And it was 2 12 mils holding that up, by the way. So save you the trip to the toolbox. And then also, while this is loose, just so you can get it out in one go, there's 3 screws that hold in the actual cluster. 1 on the top, 2 on the sides. Go ahead and pull those out at this time as well. Now that you've got the cluster out, now is actually a great time to go ahead and swap out your bulbs for LEDs. All you got to do is pop these off, and if you actually got small enough ones for your little accessory lights as well. I opted to do white for all these, and I have my smaller accessory ones as blue, but it's up to you. You can find a kit pretty easy and pretty cheap on eBay, which is exactly what I did. Alright, so next up we've got that back AC like defroster vent. Mine is gone. I'm sure most of you are in the same boat. But if yours is not, be very careful. They do crack very easily. Just take a lot of caution when prying those up, and definitely protect your dash. Use a plastic pry tool. But once you have that removed, there's a bolt here, here, and here. and you can get that with like a foot long extension, 10 mil, and an impact. Go ahead and zip that off real quick. Now, I cannot recommend enough to get yourself a stick magnet like this, because these bolts will be lost forever if you decide to just let them fall out. You definitely don't want to lose these guys, so take my advice. Now you are almost done pulling this dash out. So next up, we're going to remove these door sills, and then you're going to pull up this plastic piece, and it's going to show you the last bolt here. Same thing on the other side. Alright, and now that you've got the two lower screws removed from either side, you're probably wondering, well, Nathan, can I pull my dash now? And the answer is, I don't know. We're going to find out. I actually think you can pull it out without removing your A-pillar plastics. Save yourself some 30-year-old plastic tabs, but we're going to find out, and I'll let you know how it goes. Alright, well, the answer is almost. There's actually two more bolts right here about where the cluster goes. Alright, so it does look like we're going to have to remove the A-pillar trim, which is not too difficult. You're just going to go up here after removing your weather stripping. Now, I did just smack myself in the face, but we are going to leave that in for comedic value. I do not recommend you do the same. Kind of sucks, but you know, you're your own person. Alright, so here's the moment you've all been waiting for. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the dash as best as I can by myself. I highly recommend that you have an assistant, but just do what you
can. Damn, Zeus, you too cold, bruh. What you doing?
I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything so fine. Worry about those corners, I'm way too young, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype, throw that to the side, yo. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, please throw that to the side, yo. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 21, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low-key. I'm sipping low-key and honest, rider. And I'm pulling up right beside you. I'm stalling my ride. When I text, keep getting wild. Throw a stack on the bob. Throw a stack of chatter to the Molly. She fall through plenty and ran all her guineas. Yeah, we at the top, so right there on the weenie. Yeah, oh no, I can't fuck with y'all. Yeah, when I'm with my squad, I cannot do no more.
Alright, so I was having a little trouble removing the dash. What happened was I forgot to remove the glove box light, so I highly recommend you do that. And hopefully you've gotten that information early enough to save yourself the frustration. But yeah, it actually comes out pretty easily if you're stuck on anything. It's a 240, so safe to say there's a secret zip tie somewhere causing your angst. I recommend swearing at your car. Nothing too mean, because then you'll get a rod knock, you know how it is. But yeah, that's the dash removed, and now we're going to move on to wiring in the next video. Thank you guys. As you guys know, I'm pretty new to this whole YouTube thing, so I really appreciate all the feedback. On the last video, people were saying it was just a little too lengthy, and definitely could have used some music, especially in those time-lapse areas, so hopefully I've made those changes in this video. But like I said, your comments really do help me to make better content, so give me a like, comment, subscribe. Really helps me out, and helps me make better content for you guys. So thank you. I'll see you in the next one.